Hey everyone, this is Paul Johnson. Paul, I'm the Knitting Bear. It's been a few weeks since I've done this. It's been, yeah, here come the beasts. It's been one of those, I'm not going to get anything done, the dogs want in. It's been a few weeks since I've recorded a new podcast. I've had to go back to work, which is always fun. And then also my two favorite podcasts usually record and come out on the same weekend that I do. Sweet Tea No Shade and I'm gonna have dogs today. Come here. They want to see you. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come here. No, you're not gonna come up. Come here. Come on. Come here. Come on. Come on. Come on. Yeah, I know. Come here. Come on. He's not gonna oblige. And he's too big for me to pick him up. 60 pounds of beast. You want to come here, Moose? No, Moose? No, Duke? Quit chewing the yarn. So it's been a few weeks. I wanted to try to get off the schedule of my two favorite podcasts so I could watch them and not have to worry about recording at the same time. Plus going back to work and trying to get all that stuff together, plus a yard that screams at me every time I go outside. Hi, yes, hi. You're not helping me. I'm trying. Yes, you got to go. So there's why we're off schedule. So hopefully we'll be back to another. You come here. Come on. Come on. Come here. There you go. There you go. So that people can see you. Come here. Come on. Come on. There you go. There you go. This is Bubba Duke. Yep. You're Bubba Duke. Say hi. Yep. There you go. Okay. So you've made your screen debut. Everyone loves you. You can go now. Okay. Go on. Go. Go. Go lay down. Go. Go lay down. Go. So now back to yarn. So where was I? Telling you what I've been up to. The yard that screams at me every time I go past it. So like Saturdays have been the days I've been trying to get yard work done and all that kind of thing. So you can't be here. One moment, please. Okay, close the door so I can actually get on with this. So that's what I've been up to. It's taken some time away from knitting. Plus, I've lost my knitting mojo for a while. I was in the knitting doldrums, which for me has been odd. Usually I have 3 or 4 projects going. I had 3 or 4 projects going, and I ended up having a problem with each one of them. There's some I dropped stitches on, some that I miscounted a pattern, some that I just needed to rip out and start over again. And I had all sorts, every project was like that. And so I was like, what do I do? And so I just kind of got into the doldrums and wasn't doing any knitting. I did get one thing done, and I'll show that to you today. I got a hat done, and I started a couple others, and then because it's been 3 weeks, I've gotten a ton of new yarn in. It's just craziness. Well, it's my fault. I ordered it, so here it's gonna be there. So welcome back. Welcome new viewers. Welcome old viewers. I am glad you're here. I am glad that you're enjoying it. Someone sent me a question. Where did I come up with the name The Knitting Bear? If you hadn't noticed, I might be a slightly light in the loafers, or as they might say, a friend of Dorothy, or just simply gay. And one of the terms that's used for furry, larger, gay men are bears. So I'm a bear. I'm a gay bear. And I knit. Hence, I'm a knitting bear. And then as some form of conceit, I chose to change the article from a to the, and now I am the knitting bear, because there aren't any other knitting bears that I know of. There probably are many of them, but I chose to be the knitting bear. So there you go. That's how the knitting bear came about. So knitting issues. I talked to you about the fact that I am not a perfect knitter. I am a new knitter, and I was working on a hat, and I dropped some stitches and I couldn't find them, and had to tear it out and come back to it. I was working on something I'm going to show you today, a Rawana, which is also known as a poncho blanket or blanket poncho. and I messed up the pattern because there was no pattern written. It's all coming from up here, and when it comes from up here, it gets messed up. And then I'm working on my cable scarf, and I miscounted on the pattern on that, and I needed to I ripped out a few rows. I'm still having some trouble with it because I really have to pay attention. And as a new knitter, it just doesn't automatically happen. I need to take time, and I don't have the muscle memory, so that's all part of it. So that just caused me to just freeze up. I didn't have anything I just could pick up and work on while I was watching TV. I wasn't watching TV because I have been at the office working, and when I would come home, I was just exhausted. I'd have to do yard work. I'd have to clean the house. There's only one of me, and the dogs haven't been trained yet to clean bathrooms. Maybe someday. If any of you have ideas on how to train a dog how to clean a bathroom, that would be great. But I'm not there. So by the time I got down to sitting down in the evening, I was exhausted, and I would fall asleep on the sofa and wake up the next morning and wash, rinse, repeat. So I'm getting back a little bit to more of a schedule, and here we are. So I've knitted. I've been knitting for the past 24 hours like crazy. I've been on my Rawana, and I've been on a hat, and I'm loving it. So let's first talk about what's come off the needles. Notes. This is a Ross hat. We talked about it a few weeks ago when I was knitting it, starting on it, and I finished it. It came off the needles. What I love about his patterns, it's from Ross Rochester, otherwise known. He's got a podcast out called Smells Like Yarn, and he put this pattern out, and I love this pattern because it comes in a pattern for fingering, one for DK, one for worsted, and one for bulky. And this one was the DK pattern, but I used Pandia's Jewels Snug fingering base in Moonlight Maze, and I doubled it. I held it double and created this beautiful hat. But what I like about his pattern is it gives me a base to play with. The friend I made it for wanted a hat that was more slouchy. So this hat is more of a slouchy hat, which is not necessarily, let's see if I can get that to work. Not necessarily what Ross wrote it as, but all you got to do is just add some extras. So I went along a little further, and away we went. It was a great pattern, and I love the yarn. Love it, love it, love it. Let's see if we can make this work. It doesn't want to work. We're gonna have to. Okay, back again. So I have this weird choice. I can have the door open and have the air into the room, or I can have the dogs coming in and out, or I can have the door closed and swelter because it's 95 degrees out right now. Who knew? So this is a Ross hat. This is a slouchy Ross hat. I did the ribbing a little longer than what he would normally suggest, and I did the whole body of the hat a little longer because the person that it's for wanted a slouchy hat. So away we went. Ross hats. So one person saw a Ross hat. Oh, they're like, oh, you knit hats. I was like, yeah, I knit hats. I knit a lot of things. I like to knit hats. Hats are sort of like my socks. Some people knit socks because they just can do them, and they're quick and they're easy. And when it's freakingly hot out like it is right now, they're not too much to hold on to. So another friend say, can you knit me a blue hat too? This is bluish, but I don't know if you can see the color. It is just really cool, this Moonlight Maze. It's got greens and yellows and darks and blues. Let's see if there we go. It's just great. So he wanted something that was more blue. So I went with this. This is, I've got all these things sitting down here. This is from TedKnitsUK. Ted is someone that I ran into when I first started the quarantine, and he and I have just chatted back and forth on Instagram, and he's a really great guy, and he dyes some of the most beautiful yarn. And so this was one that he did. It's TedKnitsUK. It's his Danube DK weight. It's in merino and nylon. And so I caked some up, and I started another Ross hat. I've got the ribbing just about done right now, but the color, I just love how this blue is showing up. It's definitely a blue. And my cake is a mess. It is absolute mess, but you know what? There's only so much I can do. So that is one of my works in progress. This is it's on the needle still. I'm using my TedKnitsUK 9-inch circular, and I love these TedKnitsUK needles. I just have fallen in love with how easy they are to knit with. So this is another Ross hat. I think this one's not going to be quite as slouchy as the other one because he didn't like it quite as slouchy, but it will be a little looser than a typical beanie. So that is one of my works in progress. That goes back in here, and away we go. Along with that, it is just going to be one of those shows. Start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. It is ungodly hot for June in Michigan. Ungodly hot for June in Detroit. That's where I'm based. Actually, just north of Detroit by a half mile. And it is just hot, hot, hot today. And you may not realize this, but bears don't do well in heat. And I'm a bear. So next work in progress, hello dog, is my cable scarf, classic cable scarf. I'm having issues with it. I've got to get back on it and working on it because I like what it's doing. I love the pattern. Hang on, let me show you. Find the pattern. Find the pattern there, knitting bear. That's the pattern. It's cables. This is part of a knit along I'm doing with my friend Claire. You hear about her all the time, but Claire wants me to learn cables, and I agree with her. I need to learn how to do cables. So this is a Lion brand pattern. It's called their classic cable scarf. I tried to go back and find the pattern, but it looks like something has happened on Lion Brand's site, or they've redone their site. So I'll try to find a link and put it in the show notes below. But that's what I'm doing here. I'm using Blue Sky Fibers. It's their extra yarn. It's a kind of between a worsted and a Aran weight yarn. And it's 55% baby alpaca and 45% fine merino. And I'm using the deep ocean color, which is this color here, and marsh, which is down here. I've always loved that contrast between kind of that chartreusey green and like deep blues or blue greens. I find it a really cool combination. So I'm making progress on this, slow progress. I need to sit and knit on it some more, and I'll probably catch up with it. I have to pay attention, and as a new knitter, I don't want to pay attention. I want to just knit. I just want to create. I want it to just happen, and it is not happening. Especially when, and I'm going to pause this again. This is going to be that type of thing. A friend of mine, Claire and I had dinner, physically distant. I hate calling it socially distant because we need to be social. We just need to be physically distant. With a friend of ours, two friends of ours, Anne and Leslie. And Anne gave me the first sweater she ever knit. In fact, the first project she ever knit. She knit a sweater. Her husband said to her, "I think you should knit me a sweater." And Anne said, "I don't know how to knit." And he said, "Well, I think you can learn. It's not that hard." And so she knit him a sweater. And I've got to show you this because if jealousy, I'm going to go get it and I'm going to show it to you. Okay, and I'm back. So those of us that knit, we know what goes into making a project. And when someone gifts you something that they knit, you know how much work went into it. Anne knit this for her husband. He passed away a few years ago, and she's tried to give it away to her kids, and they don't want it. And so Tuesday night, when I was there having dinner with Claire and our friend Leslie, we were talking about knitting because we all knit. And Anne said, "Well, would you like a hand knit sweater?" And I'm like, "Would I like a hand knit sweater? Of course I'd like a hand knit sweater." She said, "Well, I knitted it for my husband, and he wore it all the time. It's one of his favorite things. And it was the first thing I ever knit." And I'm like, the first thing you ever knit was a sweater? Whoa. And then she brings out this sweater. And this is the sweater. Absolutely beautiful. It's very red. But you look at this, and you look at her stitching. Let's see if I can get it to not blow up. if you can see how perfect her stockinette is, I look at this and I'm like, how is it that this was your first project? This is an amazing project. Her ribbing, I can't get ribbing to work, and her ribbing is perfect. So not only did she knit a sweater for him, first project, she knit a cap for him on double pointed needles. I hate double pointed needles. I don't hate them, I just find them awkward. But not Anne. She just made this perfect. This ribbing on here, again, I'd be ashamed to show her my first project with ribbing, but Anne did this for me and gave it to me, and I am just absolutely thrilled to death with it. So if you want a first project, wow, talk about jealous. So thank you, Anne, and I aspire to knit as well as this. So there is that. Now, next, the Rawana. I have what's called, I've got a Rawana that I bought from, I think it was Marshall's a few years ago, and it's basically like a poncho, but with a cutout, just so it kind of hangs around your neck. And I love it. I wear it in the office, and it's just kind of something to wear in the winter when I'm getting too chilled. And I thought, well, that'd be fun. I'll knit one of those, and couldn't find a pattern. I found kind of a pattern, but nothing that I really liked. So I did something crazy and decided I would design my own. And a Rawana, let me see if I can, I've got stuff all over here, I'm going to draw you a little picture. A Rawana is basically this. So it looks like a big, like that. And your head goes right here. This is the back, and these are the two front sides. And I said, I can do that. It's basically a square with a cutout. So I'm doing it. I have got my own Rawana. I had to find yarn that I was gonna find that would be really interesting to me. And if you haven't noticed, I tend to like color, bright color. And I tend to like independent dyers, hand dyers, and local dyers. So I've been watching one locally her name is Monica. You see, where did I put Monica's information? Here we go. And let's start with the Rawana. This is my Rawana. As you can see, it's got a long ways to go. But I'm using a stitch pattern from a shawl that I liked. It's got a slip stitch, and then there is a stockinette part, and then slip stitch. And then to keep the edges kind of nice, a selvage edge, I'm doing an I-cord edging on it. So there's I-cord on either side. So this is going to take a good long time. Not that I need to be able to use this anytime soon. Like I said, it's like 95 degrees right now. It is quite warm. But I'm enjoying knitting this. And it's an Aran weight yarn, and it's from Up North Fibers. Up North Yarns, excuse me. And I will put a link to her page below. She sells off of Etsy. And so what I was trying to say was, I was on Instagram, and I follow a lot of different people on Instagram, and she was one of the yarn people I found. And she and I started chatting, and we talked about the different things she did. And I just casually asked her, I said, do you ever do anything in like a worsted weight or an Aran weight? Because I've got a project. I'm looking for something really interesting and something different. And she said, well, I can do that for you. And one of the nice things I found about independent dyers is they will custom do something for you. They will make something just for you. And it doesn't really cost anything more to do it. They will work with you to get the colors you want. They'll work with you to get the weight you want and the yardage you want. And I said, well, I need close to 2,000 yards of this. And she said, I can do that. I can definitely do that. So she did. She has a color on her site called Funkadelic. And that yarn came, so here it is, it's skeined, And I'm going to open it because everyone likes it. And then I cake some up so you can see all the colors in there. It is just, I love it. It could be too wild for some people or not wild enough for others. I absolutely, and I love how it's knitting up. I like how it uses warm tones and then these bright, cool tones. I really enjoy it. It will be something that will be very unique and very me. And something different. But so this is a non-superwashed, and a lot of people are using superwashed right now. They do a lot with superwashed, especially hand dyers, because superwash takes color brilliantly. It is very deep, and non-superwash doesn't take it quite, it takes it differently. But non-superwash creates a different fiber. It creates a more, I guess, I don't know if you'd say it was soft, but it clings together differently. And it's up differently. But look at this. Look at this yarn. It lives up to its name of Funkadelic. I mean, just, oh. And so Monica said, of course I can do that for you. And so she took the order and started playing around with it and took her Funkadelic, which she had done on a superwashed, and did it on a non-superwashed. And this is what she came up with. And I absolutely love it. And it is working really well on my Rawana. I haven't even got through the first cake yet. We'll see what happens as I try to rewind this. It's not going to rewind. It will. We'll make it happen. And I think it's going to make a really cool cool project, and I can't wait to show you as it progresses what it turns into. Monica does all natural fibers. She uses inspiration from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so it's got a lot of wilderness up there. There's Lake Superior. There's all sorts of wonderful things, and she takes her inspiration, and the yarns she comes up with are absolutely beautiful. I'm looking at one that is like agates. I'm looking on her website right now and just marveling at them. And I hope to do more with her and her fibers. Mostly she stocks things in lace, fingering, and DK. But as you see, she can do an Aran weight for you. She can change bases. She's got a lot of options, and that's really cool to me. She does custom orders. She's easy to work with, and she's very socially conscious. This past week, she started donating portions of her sales to the Black Lives Matter group, and I think that's really cool. I think that's really nice when you find someone that does things like that. So that's what's going on with my Rawana, and that's what's going on with Up North Yarns. I will, again, put links to all of these things. You should check them out. I love working with local and hand-dyed product. It makes my projects very unique. It makes all of my projects like one of a kind, something special. And if I'm going to spend all the hours I spend making something, I might as well do it with yarn that I absolutely love, yarn that is really unique and different, and yarn that has a story to it, that tells me something and shares something with me. And it's fun to be able to talk to the dyer and talk how they get to these colors and things like that. Another dyer, let's see here, we're going to move stuff around here. I'll go back to this. Pandia's Jewels. This is another hand-dyed yarn. This was her yarn. This is all that's got left of that. I'll put a link to hers in there also. Another really nice hand dyer. And then my friend Ted. This is a future project. Actually, it needs to be a future project that happens rather soon, because this is going to be for the Needles at the Ready, Let's Hear It for the Boys knit along. And it's going to be my first sweater. I hope I can do what Anne did with her first sweater. It's the So Basic sweater from Maxime Cyr. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. He's on Ravelry. Again, I'll put links down below. And Ted helped me with this. he has this beautiful yarn. It's called Glacier, and he had it on his site in a fingering, in a DK weight. And the So Basic sweater needs a fingering weight. Yes, my very first sweater is going to be a fingering weight. Lord help me. And I fell in love with this. I just thought it was absolutely stunning. And Ted and I started talking about what he could do, how we could make this yarn, what he could do with it. And then he showed me a picture of someone else that had knitted a sweater from this, and I just really liked how it worked. I liked the white and the blue. And then he has this base. He said, well, what do you think about having a little cashmere? And I'm like, cashmere? Cashmere sounded really good. So this is 80% merino and 10% cashmere and 10% nylon. And so while I was doing that, looking at that, I'm like, what if, hang on, hot bear, what if I did the collar, the cuffs, and the bottom ribbing in a contrast color? Just, why not? Why not make a basic sweater a little less basic? So he has this color. It's ultra. That is a blue. It is a gorgeous blue, but when you put it together here, look at that. So my cuffs and collar and will all be in this brilliant blue, and then the body of the sweater will be in this. And that's going to be for my Let's Hear It for the Boys, for their knit along. So that's a future project. Now, let's see what else we got here. So when I went to Ted Knits, look at this. So I gotta stop touching. I also joined his sock club. So this is his May sock club. I'm going to pull it apart here. This. Got a little mini skein what's the mini skein? This is called Mint Ripple, and there's the mini skein, and here's the main. And I don't know what I may break down and do socks, but look at that. Is the green showing up real well? You can see that mint. It's really pretty. And then you add this to it. Who knows what'll end up with this? Maybe I don't know if I can do a one skein shawl, or if I'll do hats. Who knows what's going to happen, but this is absolutely gorgeous. And he's just transitioned from an Etsy shop to his own website, and he does some beautiful things. And then to make it even better, while this was all going down and while I had all my stuff on order, I've got more things on order. I'll show you this next week more, but some mohair and other, we'll go more in depth to this because this is going to be a shawl for a friend of mine, and we'll talk about that next time because I don't have enough time for everything. But I found out he got an order for a local yarn shop here in the Detroit area called Woolly & Company, and I am so excited because this way, right now I have to wait for his yarn to come from the UK, but now if I need something, I can just pop down the street 15 minutes and bingo, bango, bongo, I have yarn. So if you have any ideas on what to do for this, put some comments in there. I mean, hat would be easy. I could do socks. I don't have a problem. I've never done socks, but I'm also in the process of doing cabling, which I'm just now learning. I'm going to be doing a sweater, and I've got my very own pattern for a Rawana, which is in my head. So something a little more easy, please. Please, easy, please. And we'll rescape. Let's see if I can do it. You get to watch while this magic happens. So, basically reskeined. Not perfect, but there it goes. So that's what's been going on around here. I have an embarrassment of things that I can start working on, and I don't know where to start. I probably really need to start on my sweater. So as much as I'm enjoying my Rawana, that's gonna have to take a back back seat to the sweater for the knit along that I've got to do. And then I've got to come up with either Intarsia or Entrelac for the other knit along I want to do, which is from the Sweet Tea No Shade podcast. So I was going to have my own knit along, but why? There's too many other good ones out there. So that's what's been going on with me. That's what's been going on with my yarn. What else was I going to say? Oh, there was a comment in one of my last, the last one about Norwegian purling. And I've been reading up on that. I don't do continental style, but I did see how to do it English style. And someone commented on how it really tightened up their purling when you did ribbing. So I'm going to look into that. If any of you have any suggestions on Norwegian purling English style, I don't continental, maybe someday I'll have enough dexterity to do that. But right now, it's enough to just do the little bit of English that I do. So if any of you have suggestions on that, put it down below also. I love reading your comments, and I love hearing where you're at with your knitting. And yes, I am a new knitter. I mean, if I could only knit like Anne knit, that would be great. But no, I'm a new knitter, and I love hearing about what you're doing with your knitting. So have a great couple of weeks. Keep knitting, keep smiling. And if you've enjoyed this, hit like, hit subscribe, and I can't wait to see you again in a couple weeks to show you all the new things that I've been working on. Have a great time. Have a great time. Have a great whatever you're doing. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.